How's it, everybody, and welcome back to the podcast. So today I'm sitting down with Bernhardt, who's put together a number of questions that we often get asked by our clients and around the place. So he's put them together. He's going to ask it, and we're going to chat through lead generation and what small business owners can do to make more sales in there. So thanks for joining us, Bernhardt. What are your questions do you have?
Cool. Thanks for giving me the time, Ray. So my first question is, what is the number one mistake we see small businesses make when they try to run their own ads?
Oh, this is such a good one. So what so many business owners do, and I've seen this so many times, and I've said this before, they go and they boost an ad and they run it directly to their WhatsApp, and the problem with that, what we find is you have no ability to do pre-qualification, so while you might say, oh, Brad, but I've chosen the right age groups and demographics and location. Yes, yes, yes. But trust me, those aren't super accurate. And so what you end up having is anybody who's willing to click on your ad will just message you hi. But then are they going to come back to you? Probably not. And in our experience, most people would say hi and nothing further. And so that's one big mistake that I see, the biggest mistake, can I say, that I see business owners make is that they run directly from an ad to WhatsApp and there's just no pre-qualification at all.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Brad. So my next question is, why do so many owners jump from agency to agency?
So this is a controversial one and I don't want to offend anyone out there. But there's so many businesses who come to us and they actually have business problems that they blame a marketing problem. For example, if you have a bad customer service, if you're not getting back to leads quick enough, if you're not servicing leads in a good way, lead generation is not going to work. And it doesn't matter who's doing it. It doesn't matter how good the leads are not going to close. And so that's often a problem. We had a client who came to us once who actually ended the contract with them because they had so many one-star reviews coming through on their Google of people accusing a client of, taking money and running away and things like that. Like, how are we ever meant to generate leads past that? Because any lead who then speaks to you is going to go research your company, see all the one-star reviews of people accusing you of taking money and stuff like that. Do you think they're going to become your client at that point? No. And so that's often where we see, and it's the same with pricing and all of those different things. Clients have business problems and they blame then the agency and say the leads are the problem, when actually the business is the problem. The business has problems, and that's what's causing their problems and lack of closing, really. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Brad. So if you can just clarify, what is the difference between just running ads and having a full lead generation system?
Good question. So anybody can go onto Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, anything now. Okay, even on Google to an extent, and you can set up a campaign and you can just run it. Okay, boost it. You can, and the ad goes out there. That's running ads, okay? And that's focused on, hey, how pretty can we make the ad? Is it really cool? Does it have a quirky line and things like that? And then it can be viewed by a number of people. Potentially, you get some results out of it. So that's running ads. Lead generation and a lead generation system is designing ads specifically that are made to take those views and to turn them into sales. So that includes ads that convert. So it's calling an offer, pulling a pain point, something like that to actually get a client who says, yes, I want to work with you. Okay. Two, it's that pre-qualification, making sure that the client is indeed, what's the word I'm looking for? Is indeed interested, is indeed qualified as a lead. And then the third is obviously a system of bringing that lead to you. Now, yes, there's websites and landing pages and automations, all those things that go into this. But as simply, if we look at it at a high level, that's what a lead generation system has. Whereas running ads is simply posting, on Facebook or running an ad, can I say, just to get people seen. It's not designed and built specifically to get you more leads.
Cool. And do most businesses know their cost per lead or
costs in general? No. So most business owners will talk to them about cost per acquisition. We had a client recently and they were a guest lodge. They were working with us. They got some sales through, but they decided to end their contract with us because they were getting more results from booking.com. When we then sat down with them a little bit after and explained to them that they had to sign, I think it was 2 nights with us in a month to more than pay for us, compared to booking.com, which I think their break-even point was at 6 or 7. The reason being the fees that platforms like booking.com, and no hate to them, they're a really cool platform, but took. And so that's why I'm saying business owners in general don't understand their numbers. Like, how much does it cost you to get a client? how much margin or how much profit do you make per client, and things like that. And those numbers are so, so crucial, because without them, you're going to spend money, feel like you're moving forward, but actually you're going to feel then stuck in the sand. And that's when we see business owners putting in so much effort, telling everyone they're growing, and then suddenly they fall off a cliff. Why? Because there were business problems. They didn't know their numbers well enough to know, hey, I can afford to spend it. So I would say that's the one side. The other side of the numbers that we see it showing in is we'll have clients come to us and they want to spend absolutely nothing to get a high value client. And what I mean by that, they want to come in, they want to spend $500 a month. We've had it from time to time, or $1,000 a month, but they want to be closing a 50 to 100,000 Rand job. Is that realistic? No, in most cases not. There are exceptions, but in most cases, no, that's not how it happens. Why? Because you've got to have the time to be able to convince someone to spend 100,000 Rand with you, showing them you're the best, they're the right person, qualifying him, all of that sort of stuff. And that's, as I say, again, people then look at it and go, oh, it's going to cost me 7 grand or 10 grand a month. Oh no, but I only want to spend 1,000 Rand. And that again points down to, do you know the numbers in your business? Are you looking at them in the right way? Or are you just looking at how much money is coming into your bank account and spending that and deciding how much you have left after that to then spend on growing your business? And I think that's where the thing is. Know your numbers. Have a spreadsheet, have an accountant, have an income statement. And I say, you don't have to go and spend on an account. You can do it like bit by bit with a spreadsheet, or with softwares like QuickBooks or Sage or Zero, and build it up slowly. But make sure you know your numbers. How much money are you making per client, per job, per service, per product, so that you can actually grow your business.
Cool, thanks, Brad. And I also wanted to know, what's one small tweak you made that made a big difference for a client?
Simplify. The amount of clients I'll see who a lead comes in, for example, and then they send them this whole long thing, and they want them to jump through so many freaking hoops, can I say, to finally get to speak to someone and actually get a quote. Clients drop off and they go to your competitor, who they can pick up the phone them, speak to them, and take it forward. Okay. Now, I'm not saying you should just say, hey, pick up the phone, do it. We, for example, don't take, I won't quote you. If you phone me now and say, Brad, like, I'm interested, I'm not going to quote you on the phone, because it takes more than that. But what I'm saying is, you need to make the process simple. In our case, for example, a client fills out a quick form. I'm talking quick form. They they come through to us, we confirm their details, get a proposal, and then we chat with it. So the client already, gets that information fairly quickly. Now, while you don't want to make it so quick, can I say, that it's too easy, you also need to make sure you haven't overcomplicated it by trying to use fancy systems and AI and stuff, which I see in the marketplace. And guys like, I've got AI bot that does this, and I've got a this that does that. The truth is, people want to deal with people. Simplify your process, speak to the people, send a basic message of like, hey, so you're interested in this? Is this correct? Are you in this industry? Cool. I'm going to send you a proposal of what works for this industry. Boom, done. People love that. Why? Because it gets them to where they want to be quickly, gets them to a result they're wanting quickly. The result, and why did they inquire with you? To find out about your service and see if it's a fit for them. And you know what I'm saying? They're getting those answers really quickly. And that's what I'd say. If you're running a business, simplify what you do. Simplify your sales process, and you'll see a huge, huge increase in your sales.
Cool, thanks for that advice, Brad. Then also, what do you think should a business focus on before spending a cent on marketing?
Sell, 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 sell. I even had this with my fiance recently, who was starting up her own business. And she, was spending so much time designing websites and making pretty logos and making it look, and I must say she did a really good job. And I was obviously giving her advice and stuff on it. But I said to her, I was like, stop with this, go and sell. And at first she fought me, and then she did it, and the business actually started to grow. And I always say to everybody, at first you need to sell. Why? Because if you're selling, you're on the ground selling. When I say on the ground, I'm not meaning necessarily cold calling. I'm meaning reaching out to people. I'm meaning sending out proposals. I'm meaning going onto Facebook groups. I'm meaning, going to a BNI meeting, like lots of different things, shaking hands, speaking to people, getting that. Why? You get feedback. I mean, I've always spoken before about potentially doing a cold WhatsApp campaign, a cold personal WhatsApp campaign, where you target specific business owners. You reach out to them with a personal short message and say, would you be interested in this? Because it allows them to say yes or no. If you send 10 of those out and nobody comes back to you, clearly there's a problem with your offer. Either that you're not describing it in the right way, people aren't interested in what you're selling. Like, you know what I'm saying? The price is too high. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I wouldn't send that much in the first message, but you know what I'm saying? Like, if people aren't coming back to you, something's wrong. And you get that feedback. And that's what you need before you can do marketing. Because if you don't do that, you're going to go out and say, for example, you're going to sell this for 100 Rand. but the market doesn't want your product, or the market believes that your service is only worth 50 Rand. Okay. You go out there, you spend 20 grand now on a marketing campaign over a few months, and you barely get any sales because nobody wants your product for 100 Rand. They only want to pay 50 Rand. If you'd gone out and reached out to a bunch of people, you would have got that feedback. People saying, hey, I'm only prepared to spend 50 on a product like this. When one person says, you go, maybe it's there. When 10 people say it, you're like, okay, it's me. And then you work hard to go, you go back to drawing board. And that's why we don't work with startups. For that reason, at first 6 months to a year, you need to be doing that. You need to be on the ground. You need to be getting feedback and doing that product or service development so that it suits the market. And when you come to us, then after that, you're able to say, hey, this is what my market likes. And we can obviously do research. Unfortunately, as much as you can do market research, as much as you can look at other products and things like that, in general, the best feedback is going to be on getting it directly from your customers or target customers for that.
Cool, thanks, Brad. And then also, why do you think so many leads go cold? And what can business
Oh,
owners do about it?
people go cold for a number of reasons. It could be just wrong time. It could be like not a right now. And the biggest problem I see business owners making is they assume every lead that comes in has to be ready to has to be sitting holding the cash and be like, here it is. That's not the reality. If you inquire for a service, for example, you're probably wanting to get a quote, seeing how much it's going to cost you to maybe do it in a month or two's time. Or you could be ready with cash in hand to do it right now. It really depends on it. And if you're going to expect everybody to be ready in cash now, it's not a realistic expectation. And that's going to say where people often go wrong. What I will say, though, on that is, sorry, what was the question again? I feel like
Because why do so many leads go cold,
oh,
and what can people do about it?
my bad. So essentially, as I say, if people are going cold, it's because you're either what you're offering is just not interested, and things like that. Potentially some just go cold, that happens, but also a lot of them might go cold if you're pushing them to close now when they're not ready to close just yet. Okay. And so I always say, yes, you're going to get the people out there who are going to say, phone, 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 sell, 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 objection, handle, handle, handle. The truth is, for small business owners, that's not necessary. Instead, what you want to do is present yourself correctly, present quickly, get them a quote as quick as possible. Those sort of things make a huge difference. And then let the rest of your marketing do the work for you. You know what I'm saying? Yes, do follow-ups. I'm not saying don't do follow-ups and forget about them. Do genuine follow-ups and stuff like that. But you don't need to burn the lines. You just kind of let them do it. And as I say, find most business owners, they'll get in, get a lead, phone them, phone them, phone them. Okay, speak to them. Maybe they take too long to quote. Maybe they quote really quickly. But then after that, they're either spamming them completely, or they forget about them and wait for them to come back to it. Or they wait for the client to be like, oh yeah, let me think about it, I'll get back to you. And then they disappear. And they just wait for the client to get back to you. So you know what I'm saying? It's that sort of you're not taking action on those cold leads.
No, okay, I think that was all my questions.
Okay,
Thank you so
awesome.
much for that.
Yeah, awesome. So I'd say if you're a business owner and you're wanting to grow in 2025 or 2026 or beyond, make sure you click the link down below. Go to our website, brbd.co.za. We are the lead generation experts, and we get our clients leads within 48 hours on average after they go live. So it's very quick. There's no wait. So if you've been one of those companies who've been in a 12-month contract, no leads, we can do a little bit better than that. So until next time, make sure you subscribe and have a good day further. The energy drink for your business.